But Atlas, all I can hope is that Nongshim show something similar to what we saw from KT, where they did look way better, even though it wasn't enough to actually get a victory.
Yep, and what I like seeing is Gideon and Kingen having big grins on their face. I think that is the right attitude going into this series. And let's see what the bans are going to be. So far, it's going to be taken away. I believe the Azir will follow, but Pantheon, Varus, things like this are probably still very likely to be on the chopping block.
Varus, Pantheon, Vi, you can order them however you like. Those have been on the chopping block.
The blue side Vi ban is interesting. I actually do think that Vi has a bit of extra value on red, because you can pair it with something from the beginning.
So ban Aurora, pick Gwen?
I think that could be an option.
That is what we've seen a lot of.
And then if they don't ban Azir, you could pick that instead. Trundle is going to be taken away.
So now you can't pick Gwen anymore.
Well, unless you pick Azir and then pick Gwen. If they don't pick Gwen, Azir is going to be banned. So that is going to be the next one taken away.
They were on to you, Atlas.
If Kingen locks Gwen here... Oh, thank goodness. All right.
Very nice. Love to
This
see
is
it.
much better.
Feel good about that. Wukong has been insanely powerful at the moment. Really the only picks that do stifle him are that Trundle as well as the Pantheon. Pantheon just kind of stifles everything. Still really funny to me how that pick just popped up and then it's just become perma pick and ban, even though there haven't really been any changes.
Has it been picked yet?
No, this season it's only been banned. But I mean more when it came up, it was kind of surprising as Gen.G looking to go, what, Xin Annie? I think would make a lot of sense. Xin has not been winning into Wukong, by the way. I think still the only wins in that counter matchup, quote unquote, or in that matchup specifically for the Xin have been Owner, who is the best Xin that we have in the league.
Yeah. Now, Chovy could go with something like an Orianna if you'd like to go for something a little bit more team fighty.
Also takes away the Orianna from the opposing team, right?
Yeah.
But I think with Annie, you apply a ton of pressure. Gen.G have been known to be somewhat of a tier list drafting team, and Annie does kind of fall in that slot. Also the 2v2 Xin, Annie is just crazy good. Very early on already, you get to fight for basically whatever you like, and it doesn't really lose impact towards the mid stages of the game.
We have seen Galio do pretty well into the Annie.
Yeah. I like it, actually.
Previous games, but that is going to be the consideration for Nongshim. See whether Kingen does decide to lock something away himself. I think you can go towards something like an Aurora if you'd like to, and then build a little bit more defensive on the Galio, as I don't think a blind Rock or Riven or Aurelia are going to happen, as the Gwen is still dangerous, guys. That's still one that you can't necessarily get away with.
I like Rumble Blind a lot more. I think it's harder to really punish in the same way that we've seen with the Gwen.
Yep.
And it's synergized as well. There's a lot of CC in your setup already, so...
And it's his best champion.
Yep. Really nice top side here for Nongshim. I think the early draft actually looking quite good. Does mean that Gen.G just gets to pick the Gwen. And we've had different stages of this matchup, depending on how broken the respective champions were. I think at first it was Rumble favored. Then it was Gwen favored when like the Grasp Gwen was at its strongest.
Yep.
Now I think it just kind of can go either way. Rumble obviously has lane prio, but he does eventually get outskilled in the side lane. And nothing too surprising. And then we're probably going to do what? We're going to pick either Senna Alistar here for Gen.G if they can get away with it. Or they're just going to pick, I don't know, Duro Rel, pick a team fighter. And for Lehens, he does love his Nautilus.
He does. I wonder whether they'll be paying much Lehens tax, as there are quite a few picks that Lehens has certainly gravitated to more than others. That Nautilus like you were talking about, but instead the Alistar is going to be removed on the red side.
Oh, they're probably going to go R4 Jhin and then give the counter pick to Duro.
I was thinking that, or they prioritize Rakan, because Rakan can be very strong, although difficult to play into this composition specifically.
I think Rakan actually is a good ban, because I think it's kind of rough for you to play, but I think it's really good with the Nongshim comp.
That's very
So I actually would like the Rakan ban here. I think that's very valid.
Does mean that that Nautilus is likely to be available for Lehens. Also another thing that does fit into the Nongshim composition.
You can go Braum, right? Poppy's still up, so I think that that is a little bit... you can also leave Rakan open and just go Poppy yourself if you want to. If Jhin doesn't get banned, though, I wouldn't be shocked to see that picked up. But you also have so much damage in the rest of your team that I think Jhin works really well, as there is the Rakan ban in these style of compositions where there is both a lot of damage up front, so that you don't get focused. Jhin, to me, really shines when he's not the main part of a composition.
You need others to distract.
Yeah, to distract, and you obviously your setup and follow-up is amazing, but it also means that you can actually do crazy damage, right? We've seen Jins really take over games just by having some other people to take the heat. I would like maybe a Poppy ban here. A Jim ban I think makes a ton of sense as well. Yeah. But it's going to be the Lucian instead. So Lucian has a lot more safety than the Jin does. Jin obviously doesn't have great ways of getting away from that top side, but he can play at a very large effective range.
Let's see what they do want to do. I like your idea, especially now, of the Duro counterpick. So it's still likely that Ruler is going to be considering something like that.
Yeah, Corki makes sense.
Yeah, another similar sort of vibe here.
You give up a good amount, I think, of setup, and you get a lot more burst damage, and he's also a lot more self-sufficient than Jin is. You can leave Jin alone, but Corki in a fight you can also completely leave alone and it will just be fine. And then Duro has been, outside of carry, I think, our most creative support when it comes to finding consistent, really good counter picks. Actually plays a mean Bard as well, which is kind of crazy given that he was previously only known for his engage ports. You can go Braum here into the Leona. I think it always feels good. I think Poppy, I'm double checking, like, is Poppy not banned?
Yep, Poppy
goes very hard into Wukong, into Leona as well.
Yeah, actually feels like a pretty good Poppy angle if they do decide to do that, because of course Nimbus Strike and Justice Punch also can be mitigated. But the Nico up and available as well, and that gives him even more team fighting presence. It does mean that he's kind of self-counterpicked himself in lane. The Leona has been the best sort of pick into the Nico that we saw rise to prevalence, I believe, at EWC, or if it was not MSI prior to that. I do think it was MSI.
Yeah, I do think the matchup is playable as opposed to the Karma, which has actually been a really big detriment. I do like that from Gen.G though, that they don't blind, because Lens is the type of guy that will just slam out a Karma, right?
Yeah.
So the Nongshim RedForce comp, it's very solid. I do think that Mercs go kind of crazy with the Galleon Leona. That's always a little iffy, but you still have a lot of non-knock-up CC, or non-tenacity CC with your Wukong. Very straightforward teamfight comp. I'm a little worried about their early game though, because I do think that the Nongshim composition can struggle when they fall behind early because it is all short range. And you're playing against any Xin Zhao, which does worry me a little bit.
It's a 6v5, you know, from level 6 onwards, unless you count the extra Wukong that you could possibly have in these fights. That might be the angle. Gen.G, I think, feeling pretty comfortable with what the draft looks like, but nothing really pulling us one direction or the other. It's just going to come down to good old honest League of Legends, right? And we just saw that sometimes if you have a scaling draft and you even make it to the late game, then even that's not enough. So we'll just have to see who's going to be able to come out with the right foot forward. Let's get into the Rift for Game 1. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for our first game of this final series of the week. Already, Trigger doing the most damage in the game. Look at that. Unless I think Canyon did a little bit more there, especially now with the extra auto attack. So never mind. It was short-lived, but he had done the most damage in the game for a moment.
Atlas, I want to ask you a question regarding Nico, and I want to hear your honest take on this. Do you think at some point the R flash combo is going to get removed?
Yes.
Right?
I think it feels a lot like just Galio Taunt.
Well, that's my point. Like Galio Taunt or the Rakan place you used to be able to make. I just feel like, particularly given I've seen Keria do some absolutely illegal stuff with it, like especially with the Rocket Belt.
I do think she's not, like, I don't feel like she's broken, right?
Isn't she though? I feel like specifically that part, I like the fact that you can do the vision trick, right? That you're squishy support with laning presence that can also just face check. I think actually is kind of cool.
I do think
there are counters.
If they were going to remove it, I feel like it should have been removed a while ago, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
maybe they were waiting for it to become a problem. And maybe that's like kind of now.
I think it's one of those things where you can kind of think about it, but it wouldn't surprise me if down the line it gets removed and we're like, how was that ever a thing?
Yeah, how was that ever allowed? It's a good point. Riftwalk used to be like double the range.
Yeah, that's always, I do really like that when you go back and watch old League and you're like, how
Yeah, how is this considered?
there's a lot of champions that have just had like a million mechanics removed.
Oh, was it Rise, like the super powering all of his abilities?
No, but Rise has had
damage
Rise
and,
is
the
cheating,
targeted stun, and oh man.
Because he has had like 15 mini reworks.
Yeah, he has been worked a few times. God, you remember like what, Frozen Heart Rush Rise? Just absolutely immovable. Hilarious.
I miss weird, silly builds like that, like Blue Ezreal actually being good. Obviously, you don't want it to be good.
It's alright. Blue Silas now exists. Have you seen that?
I did. That was King, right?
Yeah, that was King.
Yeah, I actually thought that was fun. What I don't think is fun is the PTA Essence Reaver Senna. That should leave. That's not the type of fun I'm talking about.
Yeah, everyone's allowed to cook except aiming. He's
well,
never
no, but
allowed
the cooking does need to be good.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Get him out of the kitchen. He can't do it.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Just take Boris's word for it. Shiv is the right way to go. You're allowed to build it now. As Duro taking a fair bit of damage here. Does say over a few times as Trigger does go forward. Takes a fair bit of damage back as Gideon pokes his head out of the brush. Maybe a little bit early there as they do get the ward down, but chips in the night here just a little bit. How did that Wind Becomes Lightning miss? That was kind of crazy.
Elevation. I don't know. That's always the... If it's in the river, that's
it always reminds me of that the Guma stream where he was experimenting with it. Flashes traded here between Lehens and Duro.
It's a nice win.
Really much result.
We're playing for Crab here. There's mid lane prio here for... Or mid lane prio on the move for Chovy. Also, I think pulled the wave, so does have a nice wave state here. Calyx, though, not really too bothered by everything. Does mean that Kane is going to get the Crab. And yeah, it was... what's the quote from Ratatouille? Like, everyone can be a chef. And then they also go on to kind of qualify that, you know, that doesn't mean that everyone can be an amazing cook. And I think that's the part that I want to really take away from us. Oh, the wraparound from Canyon.
All right, let's see whether Trigger's going to be able to keep himself alive here.
No
Flashes
flash.
up for Trigger, but not for Lehens. And so he could just be going down. The Audacious Charge comes in. And yes, he's got Eclipse. Yes, he's got Aftershock. But there's an auto attack from Ruler. And he says, I used to play for Gen.G. Wasn't that fun? Not as fun as it is winning most of the time here for Gen.G.
I can't believe Ruler would do that to his old teammate.
He does it every time. It's like, I think
So
he's just kept it as like first blood of...
No. I'm not talking about the emote. I mean killing Lehens.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, no, the emote is definitely just...
It's also sad because Viper's in this group as well. It's like all of Lehens' old friends.
You can just program them, right? Whenever you have Blood or an Ace, they just automatically play. Mine, you would like this, when I hit an Ace, is the Morgan emote.
All of my whole wheel is just
Morgan emote.
Obviously.
Good punish here from Canyon. Able to find himself a nice wraparound there. Sinzao definitely one of the junglers that can have an early impact compared to Gideon, who unfortunately is playing pre-6 Wukong. Isn't really a champion.
Duro just throws out a blooming burst. Lance not really too worried about it. Teleport in from King in towards his bottom side as the lane swap is well and truly underway. Keen will meet it. And the first Drake is going to be a mountain. Does take a whole lot of time. So probably not one we're going to see these players sort of sneaking away. But we'll see what does happen. It's just not my suspicion. Maybe we'll have a bit of a skirmish around the grubs for that reason. With people not getting distracted by scaly dragons and stuff like that on the bottom side of the map.
A bolsterous Drake, indeed.
Indeed.
Can't just try and sneak it away. 6 now becoming available across the board. Looking at these two compositions.
Bear.
Tempo Bear.
Yeah, I love a bit of a Tempo Bear. Now that Tibbers like sticks around for so long, I actually really like just Tempo Bearing in lane.
Yeah, well, Galio is one of those champions you want to just lock in lane. Because as strong as Annie is in the fights, actually one of the few champions that I think can match the team fight impact of Galio. You do not have a way to move around the map instantly. So do need to make sure that Calyx is just sad and lane locked.
He is also a lumbering ward as well. As in goes Canyon, taunt is pretty good, but still has to flash to get out of the way of danger. No teleport to get him back to the lane as well means that Chovy is well and truly in all of the control. As Tibbers is about to time out, Chovy just pulls this wave to make sure that he is not in any danger at all. Gideon and Canyon spot one another in the jungle here, and Ruler and Duro in a pretty good position to try and fight for this, but instead, Blue buff will just reset. And Canyon is going to take this crab instead. Gideon came over just to see whether this was going to be a possibility, but it means another reset comes in. Decent play for tempo here for Canyon.
Canyon also, because he played for his bot side gank and also got, I'm pretty sure, just his Krug stolen, is a little bit behind in XP. So trying desperately, well, not desperately, he got the crab, but trying to catch up and ensure that he doesn't fall too far behind. It's only like a quarter of a level now. Calyx, this is unfortunately what the matchup looks like. You're just going to be taking a lot of beatings. You're really there to set up some of the later fights, but he's not getting solo killed.
That is the main thing.
What I'm happy about.
He's somewhere between getting solo killed and being able to build full damage because he's under no threat. The Vikla Faker difference. They're on either ends of the scale, and somewhere in the middle is Calyx.
I'd like to think that in Faker's case, it isn't even about is he under threat, it's he wants you to be under threat.
That is a good point. Whatever Faker did, it worked out pretty well.
He's been, I think he's been the only one that has consistently been building damage on Galio, and it's actually been really fun to watch.
I don't mind just the one tank item, then full damage. I think that's kind of cool. As Gideon goes in, Cyclone will connect onto Canyon, and now the Monkey is forced to flash back into the pit as he got thrown over the wall. Chovy now with the Incinerate out is looking to lock down Lahens as Gideon left on his lonesome and Chovy grabs first blood. Probably worst case scenario here, as now this little girl with a bear is even more terrifying.
I was kind of waiting for a re-engage with the Galio, but it just never really came to fruition there. A lot of cooldowns being blown at the beginning of this fight onto Xin Zhao. Watch this, Canyon knocks away Gideon, then uses him to taxi over. Actually really cutely done there. And then Duro has to flash away from Lahens, but I think the call was very quickly made. They can't fight that, which I don't know if that's true. They don't want to take the risk, which I understand, because if now that it's a rough skirmish, if you go in and you lose, the game is just over. So I understand that, and there were still a lot of flashes available, but with Lahens, Calyx, and Trigger still being pretty healthy, and Calyx having his ult, maybe they could have looked for something. Not going to take the risk, though, which does mean it's just a straight-up Gen.G win, 2 grubs, as well as 2 kills going their way. Or rather, 1 kill, and a good amount of damage going their way.
So only 1 more kill, and those feats of warfare will come in here for Gen.G. Still looking to take a couple of these objectives as Malignance is done, but a teleport towards his top side is Nongshim looking for a dive onto Keen, whose snipping is starting to hurt. Lahens and Kingen do wait a long time for this teleport to come forward as there's the exhaust onto Kingen, but it's not going to be enough to keep Keen alive. Lahens just barely surviving. But a well-calculated dive here. The exchange should be some plates and a Drake.
Looks a little spooky there with how long it took for the very slow teleport to make its way to top. But a nice play by Nongshim. Like as well, the Gideon was covering bot. It's also Trigger, who on Ezreal is notoriously hard to dive. So the only thing that Gen.G will get on the counter punch is picking themselves up a dragon, which is fine, you know. But it is a nice little punch back there from Nongshim to ensure they don't fall too far behind when it comes to the gold balance.
Yeah, it was 2 plates as Chovy was able to pick one up in mid lane as well. So maybe not exactly the greatest of news here.
It's not amazing, right?
But I think just getting a kill, much better for morale than saying, oh, but we got some plates. Even if, in all actuality, 3 plates is worth more.
I mean, it also comes down to tempo vibes value, right?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And it all depends on who you are and whether you can detect them.
Anything can mean anything.
Indeed.
What was the quote again that you said to me?
I know, it was very dumb, and it sounded very similar to that.
Yeah, it was like, perhaps some things can be another thing, Chronicler. I don't know. It was better phrased, but basically came down to that.
It meant nothing, but I may have said words that sounded cool.
I swear, I keep going back to that clutch, because especially with the pause, it just sounds so incredibly deep, and then you think about it and you're like, what does it mean?
Yeah, it's a bit silly. However, very true. If you read the most recent
even
post-match thread,
even
it worked.
Gen.G knows that it's hard to beat bro in the clutch.
They will decide. As we said, the arbiters of the LCK, and the DN Freaks, unfortunately, were deemed unworthy. Gen.G still with a lot of control in this game, and as we can see, it's sort of just passively got off to a 1,300 gold start. This is where you can see the tempo vibes, right? When just based on the game state, Gen.G are just taking more, making more gold. Nongshim fighting back from a deficit that hasn't really come out of much of anything at all, right? It's 2-1 in kills, nothing really to write home about there. And even though Gen.G do grab some of the grubs, it was a very late dragon take, and there's nothing really to move the needle one way or the other. Outside of Gen.G just having a bit more.
I do really enjoy our two different philosophies between our two best LCK teams when it comes to generating leads. Where I think, again, Gen.G have a little bit too much of a reputation for being, you know, overly cautious. Some might say boring. I disagree. I think they play really cool, really clean League of Legends.
I think that's also an outdated take.
It is, yeah.
That was like Cuve's Gen.G.
But Gen.G's perspective generally is we go for extremely clean fundamentals. We will get ahead by getting our plates, by getting our CS, by being early, and by playing extremely solid team fights. I just like the contrast to their direct opponents, which right now are T1, whatever the placements might say, which is just murder them like 15 times.
Just flip it, it'll probably work.
Yeah,
guess what? It does.
We flipped it up. And Gen.G, that's my favorite about whenever we get Gen.G T1. Gen.G can do this. They just think it's better not to, and I enjoy that level of restraint. And I also enjoy we have a team that has no restraint whatsoever.
And guess what? The team with no restraint has only lost one game to this team. And it was game 1 against Gen.G in that historic series.
Gen.G also only lost 2 games? This round? Yeah, I was about to say.
They've only lost to each other.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That's pretty narrative-y. Starting to feel like the script is getting revealed early.
The narratives.
Yep.
What's next?
How it goes.
What's the LEC meme?
Yeah, we need to be talking about Kings.
Kings, Legacy, Dynasty. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. And crowns, and we need monologues and walls with screens.
Did you see the? Did you happen to catch the Dracos Poby monologue last night?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
I will send it on. No. I will send it to you afterwards. It is peak. They really.
They went full challenger.
Yeah. But Poby himself also appeared in the video to meme.
Yeah. Didn't he say like some roads lead to me? He actually said it. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's such a beautiful quote.
It made me very happy. You know, whenever a challenge, and soon I will get to see Rooster as well.
Oh, it's so good.
I know.
Him and Trigger, actually, the two hair bros, they had such great hair.
Rooster's hair was unmatched in challenges.
So good. It looked so clean, you know?
He pulled it off, man. It was
really
crazy.
did.
If you don't know, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure he cut it off like, what, last year?
Yeah, I think it hasn't been
But it was glorious.
It was
in the heydays of 2023, LCK Global.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, LCK CL Global. 2023, not any of the other ones, those were taken.
The reason we're not casting it anymore is actually because 2024 got taken.
Yeah.
2025 got taken.
That's the only reason.
I think it's all taken up till 2030. As in goes Gideon, finds a Cyclone onto only the support. We know how that goes as Canyon throws the rest of them back. Shelly does sort of lose interest in the whole situation, does partially reset as the equalizer onto Just Chovy by himself. Great stun though as the bear comes down. Pop blossoming the air is Duro. He looked fantastic while he did it though. No judgments here from me as no one's dead and the Rift Herald goes to Gen.G.
Yeah, we could have kept talking about LCK CL Global 20. Actually, really funny what happened there because we had multiple engages be thwarted by flashes, which just made the whole play feel kind of silly. So it started with a possible collapse on the Canyon and a TP flank, but then Canyon, I think, used the clone to get himself out. So then Galax just had to run away, and then Duro tried to go for a flash play after Trigger and the rest of Nongshim tried to punish Chovy, who looked like he was out of position.
And I don't quite remember, was it a flash over the wall or an arcane shift or something that made Duro look as silly as he did?
No, Trigger did flash, so it's flash for flash, which...
So we take that.
On Ezreal is not as valuable as on some other, but it's still good, right? If you can catch him with the Arcane Shift down, it is still something that, as you highlight, I think that trade is not the end of the world. Yeah.
And it's just less embarrassing than if it was just, I'm pop blossoming in the air, which is kind of what it looked like in the end.
And you do know old reliables in the LEC now as well.
Oh, wait. LEC is getting better and better, isn't it? Dinden, now Poby and Rooster. My goodness.
Hans Sam D is there as well.
Oh!
Old Humble Life Sam D.
Man, it's been a very long time.
But now he's called Hans Sam D.
Which sounds more confusing.
It does, yeah. It's definitely on purpose.
Yeah. Well, to each their own. As Gen.G is going to wander over and take a dragon. The contest, the cross map, things like this, not something that our Noodle Boys are really too worried about here. They're going to slowly shove in this top wave. But I think this bottom outer turret should also be going down.
I have one more little fun tidbit as this turret goes down.
Please.
You know who won today?
Bro.
Henna.
Oh yeah, he also
did
up,
also win
player of the game or something like that as well. I did see that on Twitter. I didn't actually see the game.
Just as a.
I know our former LCK alumni doing
it's bro
well.
Specifically, right?
And the bro gang. Exactly
like
right.
And if you don't know who Henna is, I'm sure the other bro fans in chat will fill you right in.
Oh, 100%. As we've got a flash right on top of Chovy, and Tibbers says, "Get off my my Annie. I'm gonna go and kill you." Is kind of how that one went. Still, Chovy did have to flash, so it was a trade of flash for flash, and maybe the Annie flash more valuable in a lot of people's minds than the Rumble.
I would say so. So Rumble is harder to jump onto for Gen.G than the other way around, right? With Wukong, with Leona, flashless Annie I think is actually a big deal, and then obviously the offensive capabilities of a flash W or flash Tibbers is also big.
Oh, that's so sexy! Goes past, gets another charge, but now Nongshim might have found an angle here. The Pop Blossom this time, though, is very, very good. Heroic Entrance does come down as Ruler manages to take down the Monkey. The flash out there from Canyon, but still gets taunted. Tries to go in because there's no way out. He's Xin Zhao. And that looked really cute, but ultimately wasn't great.
Except if you're Nongshim.
Absolutely.
No, Canyon going a little bit way too hard there. Nicely done by Nongshim, actually. Really clean. Oh, Lahans, if you die, that does kind of void how good that play was. Okay.
And now it's a 2 for 2, kind of.
Well, they also lost mid-turret, so it's just not a good trade anymore.
And the charge. Don't forget the charge. That's what made it all cool. Let's have a look at this. The drive-by. Oh, thought I was going for the no-health charge? No, that's not me.
Oh, Lahans filled his E. So
yeah, and
he had to flash over the wall.
Yeah, and then also altered on his own feet. I don't know whether that was... I mean, it was probably on purpose to try and hit what he thought was going to be.
I see the vision there for Canyon. As Lahans just oversteps, gets taken down. Very self-explanatory. So I think he flashed the ult, right? If he gets like 2 procs of Sundered Sky, he probably lives there. And then they clutch out the fight. But then actually really good response from Calyx to hit him with the taunt. And then he can only attack Galio and he just dies.
Yep.
Because of course with Sundered Sky you need to attack different people. There's an internal cooldown per enemy.
So you can't just get it all off the gargoyle.
You cannot. That's a fun little first game.
Yeah, it's nice. It's working out relatively well. It does mean that Gen.G do lock down feats of strength from that play as well by picking up the first kill.
Ruler is also...
he is doing the gold-getting thing, is he not?
3 kills.
Yeah, it's working out. As Keen as well, not seeming too perturbed by what is happening around here. As the Monkey clone going to get punished a little bit, but Gideon not going to be too worried. So yeah, it's really, like, this game is kind of interesting, right? Because I feel like a lot of things have been happening. There's some back and forth and things like that, but it does feel like Gen.G are calling almost every shot in this game. And it's working out for them, as Keen does get taunted and actually takes a lot of damage here from this Galio. Still, the Gwen not too worried, does have the Riftmaker available, building towards that Nash's Tooth for the side-laning build.
I do feel like we're slowly heading towards the classic, the game is closed and then 1 team fight is won and Gen.G get 4 and then the game is just done.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about that. I hope that doesn't happen because I think Nongshim, coming into today, similar to what we saw with KT, my test is not do they beat Gen.G because I think that is just a step too far. It's do they look better than they did before, and I think already we can say, barring Lahans, they kind of do. I think,
yeah.
Things have looked decent so far.
Well, you're going to say that, and they're going to look for Chovy. They will be able to find him here. Pop Blossom is going to be the answer as True Shot Barrage takes down the Annie, but it's a 1-for-1 immediately. Still down goes the Nico as Trigger has found Ruler. He's arcane shifting away, and Ruler is going to have to escape. Still, the rest of Gen.G just mop things up. And Calix, I believe he flashed over that wall to escape the play. And so a 2 versus 3. And the Otacon still going to be attempted here by Gen.G.
It's a bit ambitious. Calix is pretty dangerous.
He is. The Winds of War do go almost entirely wide. The trigger needs to be so careful. As Ruler, once again, it's a good sidestep, and oh god, just another couple of autos and down trigger will go, but still, he's able to arcane shift away. That being said, that's not going to save this Otacon, and with Canyon being alive, and I think healing off the Otacon more than anything else, is able to take this one out, and so that is a big buff over to Gen.G to augment their couple of Drakes that they already had.
Actually, do like the initial setup here for Nongshim. Able to take down Chovy before he really gets to do too much, just a one-man ult, and then this ult from Duro. Yes, they kill Gideon, but the fight looks pretty good. I think that if Trigger actually plays with the rest of his team here, even though I understand the look for the angle, they might have been able to kill Canyon, which would have invalidated the rest of this play. And also you have Calix to stand behind, right? Instead, Gen.G get Otacon, and I think they're looking good for this objective as well.
X-Tech Soul as well. This is X-Tech Soul point that they're looking for. Not going to be able to take it just yet. Flash is available here for Canyon, but not going to have to worry about that Zenith Blade as that one goes wide. Pop Blossom will connect onto 4! And Duro finds the angle this time around. Chovy is also at full health as the equalizer decently placed, but it's a little too late. Never mind, the walking barbecue walks in. And Kingen doesn't last very long, still manages to get one of the kills back. That is something, as Chovy having a giggle. And Trigger, I think, will be able to get himself out. It's actually just a Q that they wait for to guarantee the stun. Over the wall goes the fast bomb, and Ruler is able to lock up that kill, and only Gideon's left alive.
To credit of Nongshim, it took 2 fights.
True.
Not just 1.
Some could argue 3 with the weird one where no one really died, and it was also sort of still a fight.
And looking at the initial setup here, Duro gets a multi-man ult. So much damage is already done. Trigger doesn't actually get out of the scrum until it's too late. And the equalizer, it's all right. I think if Kingen would have been there from the beginning of that fight, that might have been enough, but it's obviously Duro pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
I feel like we could have known, though, that that fight was breaking out, because they were the one trying to collapse on the Canyon. So, little disjointed there from Nongshim. If everyone was on the same page, these fights are pretty close. You know, just a little bit of execution that, obviously on Gen.G's side, I think is very clean. It also really helps in this setup that they have 4 genuine carries. Like every single member, arguably even Duro, not in damage, but when it comes to the setup, gets to do a lot in these games.
Nice phase rush there from Calix to get him out of dodge. Not exactly an easily gankable target, is this Galio. Wait, never mind. Maybe he is pretty gankable. Never mind. Canyon not going to quite kill him.
Never mind the never mind.
Yeah. Never mind.
That's free.
Sorry, yeah, I mean, I was just getting ahead of the next one. So we don't need to go back.
Wait, but then Calix does die.
No, but then if he doesn't die again, and then he goes back in again...
Okay, gotcha. Oh!
Then we can add some extra nevers.
Keen!
All right, Gen.G looking for the play. There's the Crescent Guard, and now Trigger's in so much trouble. They're closing in from every angle as Ruler gets pounced on, but not before killing basically everyone. Exhaust goes down onto Kingen. He's just running for his life as Keen chasing after him, scissors in hand, and now Lehens, yeah, just on the wrong side of this one. There's the knock-up, and Canyon will be able to lock down this kill very comfortably. And this game, like, I don't know when it really happened, but it is now very over. You know, it was probably a bit of, but now it's like really like not even possible.
Yeah, there's also no caveats because it's Gen.G. I'm kind of, okay, that's why. So I was wondering why Calix doesn't TP in. It looks like his TP isn't actually off cooldown yet, which makes me question Nongshim.
It comes off
like right now,
3 seconds.
And at this point, it's obviously too late. It does make me question, why is Nongshim going so deep when they have a teleport disadvantage, right? That's just a timer thing. You can't be that deep in the enemy jungle, not expect any counter engage, and not have your arguably strongest teamfight setup and a big part of your front line in the area. And it's really against a team like Gen.G, you get to make maybe one of those mistakes. So maybe Chovy dies?
Well, Calyx is going to get that taunt down. Gideon's in here as well. Chovy running pretty fast and does have that Molten Shield as Canyon will get knocked up on his way in. Still Chovy able to go golden. And Gideon trying to get himself out, but it does not work. Now Duro finds Calyx. And Duro doesn't really have very much, so the sad B is going to come out.
No, Duro, don't!
Why, there's the flash to interrupt, the Pop Blossom to lock him in place, and Canyon moseys on down. And charges the Q, doesn't actually manage to get the knock-up as Calyx does walk out of the way, but it doesn't matter, he's still dead. And in the meantime, Keen's like, all right, you guys done? Are you done with the funny business? It's time to win this game. I got stuff to do.
We don't know what stuff, but Keen is playing like he has
It does
stuff.
look like he's got a hot date or something like that, as Poppy used to say.
Well, I mean, every date is... We're in summer in Korea. It's not great, guys. Korean summer is a lot.
Yeah. Equalizer goes down. Canyon tanks it as Keen dashing on top of this Rumble. Man, Kingen takes so much damage. He does have to immediately flash, but into the firing line goes the Leona. And down she goes immediately as Gideon, I believe, just killed a clone. But they also killed his clone as well. So clones traded.
They're still going.
Yeah, Gen.G just like not with very much health. Gideon also does sweep the ward as Canyon just dives on top of Trigger and murders him. And this Xin Zhao, I think, may be impossible to kill. As now Duro trying to keep himself alive in this backline as Calyx and Gideon well and truly outside of this battle. And Gen.G are getting closed in on. These health bars are so low. Heroic charge to come in. And there it is. They do manage to take down Canyon. He is mortal in the end, but Ruler is
No, that was
not.
my hand!
Calyx is still dead. Keen running with scissors, and that's dangerous, guys. That's what we've learned. And Gen.G are just going to win the game right here.
This is one of the least memorable Gen.G games I think that I've ever... It's so textbook.
It is so Gen.G.
It's so Gen.G. They pick the champions. To me, hard to pick a specific standout as well.